The engine of the shiny black truck was still ticking as he stepped out, adjusting his expensive sunglasses like he owned the world. He didn't ask how I was doing. He just dropped the bomb that shattered my entire life right there in the driveway. "Dad, I found the perfect place for you." And like a fool, I believed him. I believed him because he was my son, because he had been my favorite, because I thought that after everything I did for him, he would never betray me. My name is Frank Miller, but my friends call me Hank. I'm 73 years old, born and raised right here in this Rust Belt town in Ohio. I'm one of those men who used to get up before the sun considered rising and came back home when the stars were already tired of shining. I worked all my life with these hands. Hands that are now wrinkled, covered in old calluses, with veins mapping out every hard day like a road map. But these hands built houses. They built a business. They built a family. So listen close to this story, because it is going to stir something up inside you. And when you finish listening, you tell me, what would you have done in my place? Share this with whoever needs to hear it. And tell me, what city are you listening from? Danny pulled up that morning driving a brand new pickup truck, a black Ram polished to a mere shine. I was out in the yard watering Martha's hydrangeas. She passed away 3 years ago. But I kept caring for her flowers as if she were still there to see them bloom. Every morning, I talked to them. I told them things. I know it sounds crazy, but it was my way of keeping her close. "Dad, we need to talk," he said, stepping down from the truck wearing those expensive dark sunglasses. He had on a designer shirt, the kind that costs what I used to make in a week when I was working as a contractor. "What's going on, son?" I asked, turning off the hose. I wiped my hands on my trousers and walked toward him. He sat on the plastic lawn chair under the old apple tree. I sat across from him on the little stool where Martha used to sit and shell peas. I could see my reflection in those damn sunglasses, but I couldn't see his eyes. How does a boy raised on hard work and honest sweat turn into a man who hides behind tinted glass? A man who won't look you in the eye when he talks is hiding something. "Dad, you can't keep living here alone," he started with that smooth, slow voice, like he was explaining something to a toddler. "This house is too big for you. The stairs are dangerous. What if you fall? What if you have a heart attack and nobody knows until the next day?" "I am fine, Danny. I go up and down those stairs every day without a problem. And I have Mrs. Higgins next door. She always keeps an eye out." "No, Dad, listen to me," he interrupted, holding up his hand like he was stopping traffic. "I already talked to Mike and Sarah. The three of us agree. I found the perfect place for you. Clean, safe, with nurses 24/7, with people your age so you won't be lonely. You'll be well taken care of. You'll have activities, hot meals 3 times a day." I felt something stick in my throat, like swallowing dry toast without water. "A nursing home?" "No, Dad, it's an assisted living facility. It's different, it's modern. It has gardens, cable TV, even internet if you need it. It's the best thing for you at this stage of your life." I stared at him. I tried to find the face of the little boy I used to carry on my shoulders at the state fair, the teenager who cried in my arms when he broke up with his first girlfriend, that Jessica girl who drove him crazy. The man who hugged me weeping the day we buried his mother, telling me, "I don't know what I'm going to do without her, Dad." But I didn't find him. That Danny wasn't there anymore. In his place was a stranger with a pricey shirt and a gold watch. "Danny, I don't want to go to any home. This is my house. Everything here is assisted living, Dad. And look, this isn't something we are discussing. I already sold the house." Those words hit me like a freight train. I felt the ground move beneath me. "What? What did you say?" "I sold the house. Technically, the house has been in my name since Mom died. Remember? You gave me power of attorney to handle everything because you said you were tired of dealing with banks and lawyers. You said you didn't understand the paperwork. It was true. I had done that. After Martha left, I didn't want to know anything about forms, signatures, or deeds. Those things gave me a headache. She was always the one who handled the bills, the important papers. When she died, I just wanted to rest. I trusted Danny. I gave him power over everything because he was my son. Because I thought he would never hurt me. Danny, this is my home. I lived here with your mother for 45 years.
You were born here. Mike was born here. Sarah was born here. The memories of my entire life are here. The living room where your mom used to knit. The dining room where we all ate dinner together. The bedroom where, Dad, they're just memories. He cut me off with a voice that was no longer smooth. It was starting to sound impatient. You need to think about the practical side, not sentimentalism. I sold the house for a good price, a very good price. I'm going to invest that money for you, for your future, for your medical expenses when you need them. I don't need you to invest anything. I have my pension. I have savings from the business I sold. I have enough to live quietly here in my house until the good Lord calls me. Dad, his voice went hard like cement. It's decided. The new owners sign the deed next Tuesday. I already paid 3 months in advance at the St. Francis Assisted Living Center. Everything is arranged. Everything is ready. I stood up from the chair. My legs were shaking, but I stood my ground. I am not going anywhere, Danny. This is my house, and I am not going to— It's not your house anymore, he yelled, standing up too. He took off his sunglasses, and finally I could see his eyes. They were like black stones, cold, without light. Did you hear me, Dad? It is not your house. It is in my name. Legally, it belongs to me. And I already sold it. I signed the contract. I received the money. Period. Done deal. We stood there face to face. Me looking for my son in those strange eyes. Him looking at me like he was looking at an old piece of furniture that needed to be thrown in the trash. Why, Danny? I could barely whisper. Why are you doing this to me? He sighed deeply, as if I were the one being stubborn, difficult, irrational. I'm not doing anything bad to you, Dad. I am taking care of you. You're old. You can't be alone anymore. You need professional supervision. And I have my life, my wife, my kids, my business. I can't be coming over every 5 minutes to see if you're okay or if you forgot to take your pills. I have never asked you to come. You don't even visit often. Exactly. That is why it's better for you to be where they can watch you all the time. He put his hand on my shoulder, a gesture that would have been affectionate if not for everything he had just said. I'll come for you Monday at 9 in the morning. Pack only what is necessary. Clothes for a week, your documents, your medicines. I will handle selling or donating the rest. The rest? The furniture your mother and I bought piece by piece? The photos? Your mother's sewing machine? Her things? Dad, they're just things. Old things. In the facility, you won't have space for any of that. Your room is small. It fits a bed, a nightstand, a wardrobe. You have to be practical. He put his sunglasses back on. He walked toward his shiny truck. That truck he surely bought with the down payment from selling my house, my life, my memories. Before getting in, he turned one last time. Oh, and Dad, don't make a scene, okay? This is the best thing for you. You'll see. You'll get used to it. All the old folks resist at first, but then they end up liking it. He started the engine. The exhaust let out a loud, arrogant roar. He drove off, kicking up dust on the driveway. I stood there in the yard among Martha's plants, among the memories of my entire life, watching the black truck disappear around the corner.
I didn't cry. Men of my generation learned not to cry, but I felt something worse than tears. I felt a void in my chest, a cold hole where the pride of being a father used to be. It's a strange thing, watching the person you taught to walk suddenly decide it's time to sweep your legs out from under you. I sat down slowly in the plastic chair. My legs wouldn't hold me upright anymore. I looked at the garden I tended every day, the house I painted 3 times with my own hands, the windows I fixed when a storm broke them in '95, the door I varnished every year so it wouldn't rot. All of that was no longer mine. My son had taken it from me. My son, the one I carried in my arms when he was a baby, the one I taught to ride a bike, the one I carried on my back when he got pneumonia and there was no money for a cab to the hospital, the one whose college tuition I paid for by selling the land my father had left me. That son had just stuck a knife in my back. And the worst part of all is that he did it looking me in the eye. I stayed sitting there I don't know how long. The sun moved across the sky. The shadows of the apple tree changed places. Mrs. Higgins passed by sweeping her sidewalk and waved at me. I just raised my hand. I didn't have the voice to answer. When it started to get dark, I got up. I went inside the house. Everything was silent. That silence that had been there since Martha left, which now felt even heavier. I sat in the armchair in the living room, the same one where Martha sat to knit. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, since I buried her, I spoke to her for real. "Martha," I said quietly, "your son betrayed us, both of us. You who are gone, and me who is still here. I don't know what to do, old girl. I don't know what to do." The silence was the only answer, a silence that tasted like defeat. They say silence is golden, but tonight it felt heavy, like a wet wool blanket you can't shake off. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed sitting in the living room chair until dawn, watching the shadows move along the walls, listening to the noises of the house. Those creaks I knew by heart. The wall clock Martha bought at the antique shop. The refrigerator that made that little hum every 2 hours. The neighbor's dog barking at 3 in the morning. All those sounds that soon I wouldn't hear anymore. When the sun started coming through the window, I stood up. My knees hurt, my back hurt, but my chest hurt the most. That pain that pills can't fix. I went to the kitchen. I put water on to boil for coffee. I took out the jar of instant Folgers. Martha always said instant coffee was garbage, that real coffee was made in the old percolator. But since she left, I didn't have the will to do things like before. I sat at the kitchen table with my steaming mug, that table where we ate breakfast for so many years, where the kids did their homework while Martha cooked, where we celebrated birthdays, Christmases, holidays. I looked around. The tiles Martha picked out, white with blue flowers, the pots hanging on the wall, the old stove that still worked fine, the plastic tablecloth with fruit patterns. All of that was going to disappear too. I took a sip of coffee. It was bitter, it burned my tongue, but I didn't care. I thought about Danny, about his face when he told me he had already sold the house, about his cold eyes, about that new truck that surely cost more than I earned in a whole year of work. When did he become like this? I tried to remember. I searched my memory for the exact moment my son changed, when he stopped being the Danny I knew. Maybe it was when he married that woman, Ashley, a city woman with degrees, with a wealthy family. I remember the wedding. It was in an elegant hall. I felt out of place in my rented tuxedo. Martha made a huge effort to buy a new dress. Danny barely spoke to us that day. He was busy with the important guests. Or maybe it was before, when he went to study in Chicago. When he came back speaking differently, dressing differently, looking at our neighborhood like it was something that embarrassed him. Or maybe he was always like that and I didn't want to see it. I finished the coffee. I stared at the bottom of the mug, the clumps of powder that didn't dissolve well. I stood up. I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there waiting for Monday, waiting for Danny to come for me like someone picking up the trash. I went up the stairs. Every step reminded me of what Danny had said. The stairs are dangerous. Like I was an invalid. Like I hadn't gone up and down these stairs thousands of times in 45 years. I entered the room that had been mine and Martha's. The bed still had the sheets she picked out, purple flowers. She said they reminded her of lilacs. The dresser with her mirror, her brushes still there, her hand cream, her rosary hanging in the corner. I hadn't touched anything since she died. I opened the closet. There were her dresses. They smelled like her, like that cheap perfume she liked. Lavender. I ran my hand over the fabrics. I remembered every dress. The blue one she wore to Sarah's wedding, the black one for her mother's funeral, the floral one she wore to Mass on Sundays. Finally said to pack only the necessary, that he was going to sell or give away the rest. Martha's dresses, her shoes, her things. Everything was going to end up in the hands of strangers or in the trash. I closed the closet. I couldn't keep looking. I went back down. I went to the living room. I stood in front of the mantel where the photos were. Photos of a lifetime. My wedding day, Martha in her white dress borrowed from her cousin, me in my only suit, skinny as a wire, with that mustache I thought made me look older. The kids as babies, Mike in Martha's arms, Sarah learning to walk, Danny at his first communion, with his white suit and that smile with crooked teeth. Photos of birthdays, of trips to the lake, of Christmases, of graduations. All of that meant nothing to Danny. I grabbed a photo. It was from when Danny was about 10. We were at the park. I was carrying him on my shoulders. We were both laughing. He had a popsicle in his hand. I was wearing my plaid shirt that I liked so much. I remembered that day. It was a Sunday. I had worked all week. I was tired. But Danny asked me to take him to the park. "Come on, Dad, take me for a walk." And I took him, because he was my son. Because seeing him happy made me happy. Memories are tricky things. They keep you warm, but they can also cut you deeper than any knife. Was that boy in the photo the same man who yesterday told me he had already sold my house? It couldn't be. I put the photo back in its place. I sat on the couch again. Outside, people started passing by. Mrs. Higgins going to the market, George walking with his cane, kids running to school. Life went on normally for everyone, except for me. I looked at the phone. It was on the small table, an old landline phone, the kind almost nobody uses anymore. Martha had bought it years ago. She said it was important to have a phone in the house in case something happened. I thought about calling Mike. He lived in Denver. He worked in a factory. He hadn't visited in years. He always said he couldn't, the work, the paperwork, the money, but he called me often. He asked how I was. He sent money at Christmas. Did Mike know what Danny was going to do? Danny said he had talked to him and Sarah, that everyone agreed. Was that true? I thought about calling Sarah. She lived here in town, married to a teacher. They had 2 daughters. Sarah did come to see me, not much, but she came. She brought me casseroles. She helped me clean the house. She took me to the doctor when I had an appointment. Did Sarah also think I should be in a home? I didn't call them. I didn't want to hear their voices telling me Danny was right, that it was best for me, that I was too old to live alone. The phone rang. It startled me. I watched it ringing and ringing. I answered. Hello? Dad, it's me, Sarah. Her voice sounded strange, tight. Hi, honey. Dad, Danny called me. He told me about the assisted living. Dad, I didn't know he was going to sell the house, I swear to you. He told me he was just going to look at options, that he was going to talk to you first, that he was going to convince you little by little. I didn't know he had already signed papers. I felt something in my chest, a little bit of relief. So Sarah didn't agree. And Mike? Mike didn't know either. I told Danny to call him, to explain, but you know how your brother is. He's far away. He doesn't really know how things are here. So it's not true that everyone agrees? No, Dad. I don't agree. But she stayed quiet for a moment. But legally, Danny can do whatever he wants. The house is in his name. The power of attorney you gave him is very broad. It says he can make decisions for you. But he shouldn't be able to sell my house without asking me. He shouldn't, Dad. But he can. I went to see a lawyer friend of my husband.
He told me that if the house is in Danny's name and you signed that power of attorney, there isn't much to be done. I felt the floor opening up beneath me. Is there nothing I can do? I built walls to protect my family my whole life, never thinking I'd be the one trapped on the outside looking in. Sarah sighed. I heard she was crying. Dad, I can talk to Danny. I can tell him to wait, not to take you yet. That we look for another solution. Maybe you can come live with me for a while. No, honey. You have your small house, your girls, your husband. I'm not going to be a burden on you, too. You are not a burden, Dad. Yes, I am. To Danny, clearly, I am a burden. Danny is a... She didn't finish the sentence, but I knew what she wanted to say. It's okay, Sarah. Don't worry. I'll be fine. Dad, I'm going to come see you. I'll go this afternoon. We'll talk. We'll find something. It can't be that Danny does this like this. Whatever you want, honey. We hung up. I stood with the phone in my hand. Sarah was coming. She was going to try to help. But she herself had said it. Legally, Danny could do whatever he wanted. I had given him that power. I had walked into this trap all by myself. I looked at the house. My house, which was no longer mine. And for the first time in many years, I felt like an old man who made a mistake that was going to cost him everything. Sarah arrived around 4 in the afternoon. She brought a bag with donuts and a thermos of coffee. It had always been like that, since she was little. When she came to visit, she always brought something, as if she could fix things with food. Hi, Dad, she said, giving me a kiss on the cheek. Her eyes were red. You could tell she had cried on the way. Come in, honey. I opened the door. We went into the living room. She left the things on the table and sat in the armchair where her mother always sat. I sat in mine. Dad, I talked to Danny, she started saying. I told him this isn't how it's done, that he can't sell you the house just like that you are his father, that you deserve respect. Her voice cracked. He told me to mind my own business, that he knows what he's doing, that you can't take care of yourself anymore and someone has to make decisions for you. That's what he said. I felt the blood rushing to my head. That and worse, she continued. He told me that if I was so worried about you, that I should take you to live with me, that I should take charge, that he had already done enough for you all these years. Sarah wiped her tears with the back of her hand. I told him he hasn't done anything for you,
That I am the one who comes to see you, the one who takes you to the doctor, the one who brings you food when you're sick. He got mad. He hung up on me. I stayed quiet. I didn't know what to say. Seeing my daughter crying because of her brother broke my soul. Dad, I talked to Hector. Hector was her husband. I told him I want you to come live with us. He agrees. The girls, too. We can arrange the girls' room. They can share and you stay in the other room. It's not big, but no, honey. I already told you no. You guys live in a small apartment. You barely fit. I'm not going to arrive and be a nuisance. Besides, it's already late. Danny already sold the house. He already paid the nursing home. Everything is done. Assisted living, Dad, not nursing home, she corrected me with a soft voice, as if the name made it less horrible. It's the same thing, Sarah. It's a place where they put old people who are in the way, where they put them to forget about them. I stood up. I couldn't be sitting. I walked toward the window. Outside, life went on normally. Cars passing, people walking, the world turning as if nothing was happening. Sarah stood up too. She approached me. She put her hand on my shoulder. Dad, I'm going to keep coming to see you, I promise. Every week I'll go. I'll bring you whatever you need. I won't abandon you. I know, honey. You have never abandoned me. I hugged her. She started crying on my chest like when she was a little girl and fell down playing. I stroked her hair. Don't cry. It's not your fault. None of this is your fault. But I feel so helpless, Dad. I'd like to do something, but I can't. The law is on his side. The lawyer told me clearly, Danny has all the papers. He has the power of attorney. He has the house in his name. We can't do anything. We stood like that for a while, hugging, her crying, me holding back the urge to cry too because men of my age don't cry, or that's what they taught us. When she calmed down a bit, we sat down again. She poured the coffee, took out the donuts, my favorites. We ate in silence. The coffee was good, the bread too, but it tasted like a goodbye. Did you pack already? She asked me. No, I don't know what to pack. Danny said only the necessary. Clothes for a week, documents, medicines, as if I were going on vacation, and not staying there who knows how long. I'll help you pack if you want. We can see what you take, maybe some photos, something of Mom's, so you don't feel so alone. Do you think they'll let me have photos there? Of course, Dad. It's your room. You can decorate it however you want. Well, as much as possible. We finished the coffee. Sarah stood up. I'm going to help you pack. Come on, let's go upstairs. We'll take out your clothes, see what else you need. We went up the stairs together, her in front, me behind. Slowly, like I did everything lately. Slowly. We entered the room. Sarah opened the closet. She started taking out clothes, shirts, pants, socks. She put them on the bed. Clothes Martha had bought me. Clothes I had used for years. Clothes with history. Where's your suitcase, Dad? On top of the wardrobe, that blue one? Sarah stretched, took down the suitcase. It was dusty. We hadn't used it in years. The last time was when we went to the coast to visit a cousin. Martha was still alive. We went by bus. We spent a week there, ate fish, went to the beach. Martha collected seashells. She brought them to the house. They are still in a basket in the kitchen. Sarah started folding the clothes, putting them in the suitcase. She did it with care, like her mom taught her. Every item well folded, everything orderly. Which shoes are you taking? The black ones, the brown ones, that's enough. She put them in a bag, put them in the suitcase. Where are your medicines? In the bathroom, in the cabinet. She went for them, brought them in a bag. Pills for blood pressure, for cholesterol, for sugar. Pills that kept me alive, but sometimes made me wonder why stay alive if everything was ending. Sarah kept packing. She took documents out of a drawer. My birth certificate, my ID, my insurance card. She put them in an envelope. "Photos?" she asked, looking at me. "Grab whichever ones you want." She went downstairs. I stayed there, standing, watching how the suitcase was filling up, watching how my life was being reduced to a dusty blue suitcase. Sarah returned with a handful of photos, the ones that were on the living room mantel. She put them carefully in the envelope with the documents. "Something of Mom's?" I opened Martha's dresser drawer. I took out her rosary, the one she used every day, the beads worn down from so much praying. I gave it to Sarah. She put it with the photos. "That's it, Dad. You have everything necessary." I looked at the suitcase. That was it. 73 years of life reduced to a suitcase that wasn't even full. Sarah closed the suitcase. She took it down from the bed, left it by the door. "You'll come early Monday, before Danny, to be with you when he arrives. Is that okay?" "That's okay, honey." We went down. Sarah gathered her things, the thermos, the bag of donuts we didn't finish. At the door, she hugged me again. "I love you, Dad. A lot. Don't forget it." "I love you too, honey." She left. I watched her walk to her old car, start it, leave. The house fell silent again. That silence that weighed more and more. There were 3 days left until Monday. 3 days for Danny to come for me. 3 days for him to take me out of my house like someone taking out the trash on collection day. I sat in the armchair. I looked around. The walls I painted. The furniture I bought with Martha, dollar by dollar. The floor I laid with my own hands. All of that was going to belong to others. People who didn't know the stories of this house, who didn't know how much sweat and work everything cost. And I was going to be in a small room in an assisted living home, with people I didn't know, eating food that wasn't from my home, sleeping in a bed that wasn't mine, waiting to die. I spent Saturday walking through the house from room to room, touching the walls, seeing every corner, trying to etch everything in my memory because I knew that after leaving, I probably wouldn't enter here ever again. I went to the kitchen, made myself a coffee, sat at the table. From there I could see the yard, the old apple tree I planted when Mike was born. That tree was 50 years old now. It gave good apples. Martha made apple pie, made treats for the grandkids. Danny, as a boy, climbed that tree. He spent hours up there reading his comic books. Would Danny remember that tree? Would he remember the afternoons he spent there? Probably not. For him now they were just old memories without value, things that can be sold or thrown away. I went out to the yard, touched the trunk of the tree, the rough bark, the marks time had left on it. Just like me, full of scars, but still standing, still bearing fruit. "Forgive me, old friend," I said to the tree. "I'm leaving you alone. I hope the new owners take care of you, although I doubt it." I laughed to myself. I was talking to a tree. I was already going crazy. I went back into the house, went up the stairs again, entered Sarah's room. I hadn't entered there in years, since she got married and left. The room was empty. Only the bed remained. The walls had marks from the posters she used to tape up, music groups I don't even remember the names of. That room had been her world, her space. Now it was just an empty room full of dust. I went to Mike's room. I hadn't entered there in a long time either. It was the same, empty, sad. Mike left more than 20 years ago. He left to find his fortune out west. He found it working 12 hours a day in a factory. He earned good money but lost everything else. His roots, his family. I talked to him on the phone every month. He always said he'd come visit soon. He never came. There was always something, the job, the paperwork, the money.
When Martha died, he didn't come either. He sent money for the funeral, as if money could replace his presence. Lastly, I went to Danny's room, the biggest of the three, because he was the favorite, because Martha said he was the baby and needed more space. We painted the walls blue. We put up shelves for his soccer trophies. We bought him a big desk to study. Everything we did for him, everything we gave him. And this is how he repaid me. I sat on the floor of the empty room. My knees popped. I was no longer the same man who built this house brick by brick. I was no longer the one who carried bags of cement on his shoulder like it was nothing. Now it was hard work just to sit on the floor. I stayed there, I don't know how long, thinking, remembering, trying to understand at what moment everything went to hell, at what moment my son decided I was a nuisance and not his father. I heard knocking on the downstairs door. I got up with difficulty, holding on to the wall. I went down the stairs slowly. It was George, my neighbor, my friend of 30 years. "Hank, are you okay? You look bad, buddy," he said when I opened the door. George was my age, but he looked better than me, straighter, stronger. Of course, he didn't have children who betrayed him. "Come in, George, come in." We went into the living room. He sat in the visitor's chair. I sat in mine. "Sarah came to see me yesterday," he said. "She told me what Danny did." "I can't believe it, Hank. I can't believe it." "Well, believe it. Monday he takes me out of here." But this is your house. He can't sell it just like that." "He can. It's in his name. I gave him power for everything." I was a fool, George. A fool who trusted his son. George shook his head. "And there is no way to stop this?" "I was a lawyer, Hank. Even though I'm retired, something must be able to be done." Sarah went to a lawyer. He told her there's nothing to do. The papers are in order. Danny has every legal right. Legal right, yes, but moral? No, this isn't done. You don't do this to a father. Well, he did it, and here I am, packed and ready to go. George stayed quiet a moment. I saw him thinking. I knew that face. I had seen it many times when he solved neighbors' problems, when he gave legal advice at the corner store. It was his lawyer face. "Hank, let me check the papers. The power of attorney you signed, the deeds, everything. Maybe I find something, some error, some irregularity." "Everything is already signed, George. He already sold the house. He already received the money. But let me check anyway. Please. You lose nothing by letting me see the documents." I didn't have much desire. I didn't have hope. But George was my friend. If he wanted to help, well, let him try. "They are in the drawer of the hutch, the brown folder." He got up, went for the folder. He opened it right there on the living room table, took out his glasses, the ones he uses to read. He started reviewing the papers. I watched him read, turn the pages, frown, make those sounds people make when they read complicated things. "When did you sign this?" he asked me, pointing to a paper. 3 years ago, when Martha died. Danny told me it was to make things easier, so I wouldn't have to be going to the bank, the notary, those places, that he would handle everything. "And you believed him?" "He is my son. Why wouldn't I believe him?" George kept reading. He took about half an hour. I just watched him. I didn't know what he was looking for. I didn't know if he was going to find something. Finally, he closed the folder. He took off his glasses. He looked at me with a serious face. "Hank, this power of attorney is very broad. Too broad. You gave Danny total control over everything. Your house, your accounts, your decisions. Practically, you gave him your life." "I know, I realized that. Late, but I realized. But there is something weird here." He opened the folder again, took out a paper. "Look, the deed to the house.
It says the house was transferred to Danny's name 3 years ago, but there is a clause, a life estate clause. What is that? It means that although the house is in Danny's name, you have the right to live here until you die. It is your right. Nobody can kick you out, not even the legal owner of the property. I felt something in my chest, like a spark. Like when you try to light a wet match and finally it lights. Are you sure? Completely sure. It's here, in the deed, registered with the notary. It is legal. It is binding. But Danny already sold the house. It doesn't matter. The life estate passes to the new owner. You have the right to stay here. Finally can't kick you out. And if he already sold the house without mentioning this to the buyers, he is in a very big legal problem. There could be fraud, concealment of information. The buyers can sue. They can cancel the sale. The spark became fire. A small fire, but fire nonetheless. So I don't have to go? You don't have to go. In fact, I'm going to call the notary who made this deed. I'm going to confirm everything, but Hank, this changes everything. Danny lied to you, or he didn't read the papers well, or he thought you were never going to find out. I sat there processing what I had just heard. There was a way out. There was a way to fight. For the first time in days, I felt that not everything was lost. You can only kick a quiet dog so many times before he remembers he has teeth. George left, promising he was going to talk to the notary Monday early, that he was going to confirm everything, that I shouldn't worry. But I did worry.
Because one thing was having a paper that said I had rights, and another, very different thing, was facing Danny, my own son. That night, I didn't sleep well either. I spent it tossing and turning in bed, thinking about what George had discovered, that life estate clause. Martha had insisted on putting it, I remember. When we went with the notary to arrange the papers after she got sick, she told the lawyer, I want my husband to be able to live in this house until he dies. I don't care whose name it's in. The notary wrote it. We put it in the deed. Danny signed. He agreed. Or he just signed without reading. Or he read and thought I would never find out. Or he didn't give a damn because he was going to do whatever he wanted anyway. I don't know which was worse. Sunday dawned cloudy, as if even the sky knew a storm was coming. I got up early. I showered, put on my clean clothes, a plaid shirt Martha gave me for my birthday 5 years ago. Dress pants I almost didn't use anymore. If I was going to face Danny, I was going to do it well-dressed, with dignity. I went down to the kitchen, made coffee, some scrambled eggs, toast. I ate slowly, savoring every bite, because I didn't know if it was going to be my last meal in peace or the first of many more in my own house. Around 10 in the morning, there was a knock on the door. It was Sarah. Dad, I came to keep you company. I don't want you to be alone when Danny arrives, she said, entering. She had a face of not having slept well either, swollen eyes, hair tied back in a rush. Thanks, honey, but what you think is going to happen isn't going to happen. What do you mean? I told her what George had found, the clause, the life estate. Her eyes got wider and wider while I spoke. Is that true, Dad? Is it really in the papers? That's what George says. And he was a lawyer. He knows about these things. Then you don't have to go. Danny can't kick you out. He can't, but he's going to come anyway, and I have to tell him. Sarah sat in the armchair. She looked confused, between relieved and worried. How do you think he'll react? I don't know, honey. But however it is, I have to face him. I have to put a stop to it. It's been enough of him doing whatever he wants with me. Shall we stay waiting? Sarah started making fresh coffee. I stayed sitting in the living room, watching the wall clock, listening to the tick-tock.
Every second that passed, I felt my heart beating harder. At 11:30, he arrived. We heard the truck park outside, the door close with a slam, the steps on the stone path. The doorbell rang. Sarah looked at me. "Do you want me to open it?" "No, I'll get it." I stood up, walked toward the door, took a deep breath, opened it. There was Danny, with his sunglasses, his expensive shirt, his gold watch, his face like he was coming to do an annoying errand. "Good morning, Dad. I'm here for you. Are you ready?" He spoke to me like someone speaking to a small child, with that sweet voice that gave me more anger than if he yelled at me. "I am not going anywhere, Danny." He took off his glasses, looked at me confused. "What do you mean, no? We already agreed on today." "I know what we agreed, but I changed my mind. I am not going. I am staying in my house." "Dad, I already explained to you, this is no longer your house. I already sold it." "The new owners have a problem then, because I have a life estate. I can live here until I die. It is in the deed. You signed it yourself." Danny's face changed, from confusion to surprise, from surprise to anger. "Who told you that?" "It doesn't matter who told me. What matters is that it is true. Your mother put it in the papers when we did the transfer. You signed it. You accepted it." "Dad, that was 3 years ago. Things changed. You changed. You can't anymore?" "I didn't change anything. I am still the same." "The one who changed was you. The one who became an ungrateful son was you." Danny clenched his jaw. He entered the house without me inviting him. Sarah was standing in the entrance of the living room. "Ah, I see. You told him, right?" he said to Sarah with venom in his voice. "You went to stick your nose where it doesn't belong." "I didn't tell him anything," Sarah answered firmly. "But even if I had done it, what is the problem? That Dad knows his rights? That he knows you wanted to trick him?" "I wasn't tricking him. I was taking care of him. You guys don't understand. He can't be alone anymore. He forgets things. He doesn't take his medicines well. Any day he falls, and those are pure excuses," I interrupted him. "The truth is, you wanted my house. You wanted to sell it, keep the money, and get me out of the way so I wouldn't be a nuisance." "Keep the money, Dad? That money was going to be invested for you, for your expenses." "Don't come to me with lies, Danny. If it were for me, you would have given it to me. But you wanted it for yourself, for your luxuries, for your new truck, for your rich life." Danny took a step toward me. Sarah stepped in between. "Don't get close to him," she told her brother. "Move, Sarah. This is between my dad and me." "I won't move. And this isn't just between you two. It belongs to the family, and you are disrespecting our father." "Disrespecting him? I am the only one who has taken charge of him, the only one who has come to see him, to help him with his things." "Help him? Is selling his house without telling him helping him?" "The house is mine. It is in my name." "But he has the right to live here." Sarah was shouting too now. "Enough!" I shouted louder than both of them. They shut up, looked at me. "Enough already! Danny, I am going to tell you this one time. I am not going to leave. I am staying in my house." "If you already sold the house, that's your problem. Fix it yourself. Return the money. Cancel the sale. Do whatever you have to do. But I am not moving from here." Danny looked at me with pure hate, a hate I had never seen in his eyes, not even when he was a boy and I scolded him. "You know what, Dad? Do whatever you want. Stay in your damn old house, but don't look for me when you need something. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me for help. To me, You have no son anymore. If that's how you want it, that's fine. Because the son I raised wouldn't have done what you did. Danny turned around, walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned one last time. This isn't going to stay like this. I'm going to talk to my lawyer. I'm going to find a way to get you out of here. You'll see. He left. The truck started with fury. It went off making noise, leaving smoke. I stood there. Sarah hugged me. You did good, Dad. Very good. But I didn't feel good. I felt empty. I had just lost my son. Well, my son had already lost me a long time ago. I just had realized it. I sat in the armchair. Sarah sat next to me. And now what follows, Dad? I don't know, honey. I don't know. But I knew something. Danny was going to fulfill his threat. He was going to try to get me out of here, and I had to be prepared to fight. The following days were weird, like living in a house that didn't feel like a house anymore. I knew Danny was planning something. I could feel it. Sarah came every day to see me. Sometimes she stayed for hours. She brought me food. She kept me company. But I noticed she was worried too. Danny doesn't answer my calls, she told me one day. I've dialed him like 20 times. Nothing. He blocked me. Leave him. If that's how he wants to be, let him be. But it wasn't that easy. As much as I wanted to forget about Danny, he was my son. And although he had betrayed me, a part of me still hoped he would reconsider, that he would come to apologize, that things would go back to being like before. What a fool I was. Wednesday, George came to see me. He had a worried face. Hank, we have to talk. What happened? I spoke with the notary. He confirmed everything. The life estate is real. It is valid. But there is a problem. I got a knot in my stomach. What problem? Danny hired a lawyer, a good lawyer, expensive. They are going to try to declare you mentally incompetent. What? If a judge determines that you are no longer in your right mind, that you can't make decisions for yourself, they can remove the usufruct. They can name him as your legal guardian. And then, yes, he can do whatever he wants, including committing you to a home against your will. I felt the floor moving. But I am fine. I am perfectly sane. I know it. We all know it. But Danny is going to get doctors. He is going to present evidence that you forget things, that you can't take care of yourself. He is going to paint a picture where you are a senile old man who needs to be committed. That is a lie. I know, Hank. But in court, the truth doesn't always win. Sometimes the one with the better lawyer wins. And Danny has money to pay the best. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me up. So, what do I do? You need a lawyer too, someone to defend you, someone to present evidence that you are fine. Psychological evaluations, testimony from people who know you. We have to prepare to fight this. And how much does a lawyer like that cost? George stayed quiet. I already knew the answer, more than I had. My pension barely covered living. The savings I had from the business weren't much. Danny knew it. That's why he was playing this card, because he knew I didn't have enough to fight. I can help you with some things, said George, but you need formal representation, someone to go to the hearings, to present the documents. I don't have money for that, George. Then look for a public defender. Talk to legal aid. A public defender against Danny's expensive lawyer. I already knew how that was going to end. George left, leaving me more information, papers I had to fill out, places I had to go. I felt lost. All my life I had been a man of physical work, of hands, not of papers and forms and courts. That night I called Mike. I needed to talk to someone. Sarah already had enough with her own problems. I didn't want to burden her more. Dad, are you okay?" Mike answered, always asked the same thing. "No, son, I am not okay." I told him everything about Danny, the house, the life estate, the threat to declare me incompetent. Mike listened in silence, just making sounds once in a while, so I knew he was still there. When I finished, he sighed. "Dad, I didn't know things were that bad. Danny called me a few weeks ago. He told me he was going to take you to an assisted living home, that it was the best for you." I believed him. I thought it was a good idea. You thought that too? "Dad, forgive me. I am not there. I don't know how things really are. I only know what Danny tells me, and he has always been convincing." "He is a liar, Mike. He sold my house without telling me. He wants to commit me to keep everything." "I know. Sarah told me. Dad, I want to help you, really. But I am far away and I don't have much money. I have 2 jobs to support my family. I can't—" "I am not asking you for money, son. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted you to know the truth." "And what are you going to do? Fight?" "While I have strength, I am going to fight." "Dad, be careful. Danny, when he gets fixated, is dangerous. He has always been like that since he was a boy. You know it." It was true. Danny as a boy was stubborn. When he wanted something, he didn't stop until he got it. He cried, screamed, threw tantrums, and Martha always gave him what he asked for. "He's the baby," she used to say. "Let him be." I told her she was spoiling him. She told me I was too hard. In the end, Danny always won. And now Danny was a man, with power, with money, with lawyers, and he still wanted to win, no matter who he had to crush. "I'll be careful, Mike. Thanks for listening to me." "Dad, if you need something, whatever it is, call me. I'll find a way to help you." "Okay, son. Take care." I hung up. I stayed with the phone in my hand, watching the screen slowly fade to black. I had 2 children who loved me, Sarah and Mike. But Sarah could barely handle her life, and Mike was thousands of miles away. And I had a son who hated me, who wanted to destroy me, who had the power to do it. I went to the kitchen, opened the cupboard, searched all the way in the back. There it was. The bottle of bourbon they gifted me at my retirement. I had never opened it. Martha said we should save it for a special occasion. Well, this was the occasion. Especially screwed up, but an occasion nonetheless. I uncorked the bottle, poured a shot glass, took it in one gulp. It burned, tasted bitter, but the heat it left in my chest felt good. I poured another and another. I wasn't a drinking man, but that night I needed something to help me sleep, something to make me forget even for a few hours. I finished half the bottle. I went to bed stumbling, threw myself on the blankets. The room was spinning. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long time, I slept without dreaming. I woke up with a terrible headache. My mouth tasted like metal. Stomach churned. I dragged myself to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. An old man with red eyes, messy hair, unshaven beard. I looked pitiful. "Is this what you want to be?" I said to myself in the mirror. "An old drunk who gives up." Martha would have smacked me upside the head. She always said problems aren't solved with a bottle, that you have to face them with a cool head and a warm heart. I showered with very cold water. I shaved, put on clean clothes, went down to the kitchen and made myself a very strong coffee with 2 aspirins. I needed to think clearly. Danny had a lawyer. He had money. He had a plan. And what did I have? A house I could legally inhabit, but they could take away if they declared me incompetent. a pension that barely stretched, 2 kids who loved me but couldn't really help me. But I had something else. I had 73 years of experience, of having fought in life, of having fallen and gotten up 1,000 times. Danny thought that because I was old, I was stupid. Well, I was going to prove him wrong. I grabbed paper and pen. Martha always made lists when she had problems. She said writing things down helped see them clearer. I started writing. Things Danny did wrong, I wrote at the top. 1. He sold the house without informing the buyers of the life estate. That was fraud. 2. He pressured me to sign papers when Martha had just died and I was grieving. That could be abuse. 3. He kept the money from the sale. Money that, according to him, was for my expenses, but he never showed me where he invested it. While I was writing, I remembered more things. Things I didn't give importance to at the time, but now made sense. About 6 months ago, Danny asked me to sign some papers, said it was to renew my medical insurance. I signed without reading. I trusted him. What had I really signed? More powers? Authorization to handle my accounts? I also remembered that after Martha died, Danny insisted a lot that I give him access to my bank account. To help you with the bills, Dad, so you don't have to be going to the bank. I accepted. I gave him my card, my PIN, everything. How much money had he taken out of there? I needed to know. I finished my coffee. I dressed well, left the house, walked to the bank. It was 10 blocks away. Before I walked them without a problem. Now it was work. My knees hurt. I got tired. But I arrived. I went in. There was a line. I waited. Waited about half an hour. Finally, it was my turn. Good morning. I need to see my account activity for the last 3 years, I told the girl at the window. Do you have your statement? No. That's why I'm here. I haven't received statements in a long time. Let me see. She typed on her computer, frowned. Sir, your account is registered that statements are sent by email to this address. She showed me the screen. It was an email I didn't know, probably Danny's. That is not my email. I don't have email. Do you want us to change it? Yes. And I also want to change my PIN and make sure nobody else has access to my account. The girl looked at me with a face of pity. Surely she saw many cases like mine, old folks whose kids stole from them little by little. I need you to fill out these forms. She gave me papers. I filled them out. I took my time but filled them out, letter by letter, with my shaky but firm hand. When I finished, she made changes in the computer, gave me a paper. Here is the summary of your activity for the last 3 years, sir. I grabbed it, started reading. With every line I read, I felt my blood boil more. Withdrawals, many withdrawals, of $500, of $1,000, of $2,000. Almost every month. In 3 years, Danny had taken more than $50,000 from my account. $50,000 that were mine, that I had saved working, that were for my old age, for my expenses, for emergencies. Danny had robbed me. There was no other word. He had robbed me while telling me he was taking care of me. Sir, are you okay? The girl asked me. Yes, thank you. I need a copy of this. She gave me 3 copies. I folded them, put them in my pocket, left the bank. The sun hit me hard, but I didn't feel it. I only felt rage, a cold rage, calculating. I walked to George's house, knocked on the door. He opened. Hank, what happened? You look. I have evidence. Danny robbed me. I have the papers from the bank. George's eyes opened wide. Come in, quick. We went in. I showed him the papers. He read them carefully, with his lawyer face. This is serious, Hank. Very serious. If he had access to your account only to help you with payments but kept the money for personal use, it's embezzlement. It's a crime. Can I sue him? You can, and you should. This changes everything. It's no longer just a civil problem of life estate. This is criminal. He could go to jail. I felt something in my chest. It wasn't joy. It was justice. Pure and hard justice. What do I have to do? First, let's go with a criminal lawyer, someone who knows about these cases. Second, we file a formal complaint with the district attorney. Third, we present all this evidence, the statements, the withdrawals, everything. And that is going to stop his plan to declare me incompetent? More than that. When a judge sees that Danny is stealing from you, that he is manipulating you, that he is using his power for his own benefit, there is no way they give him guardianship. On the contrary, they are going to investigate him. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. A small smile, but real. Do you know a criminal lawyer? I know the best. His name is Mr. Stone. He is tough. His hand doesn't shake, and he hates children who abuse their parents. He had a similar case years ago. He won. How much does he charge? Let me talk to him. I'm going to tell him your situation, see if we can arrange something. George took out his phone, dialed, talked to someone, explained my case, listened, nodded. He says he can see you tomorrow at 10 in the morning, in his office. I'll be there. I left George's house with a firmer step, with a clearer head, with a purpose. Danny wanted to play dirty. Well, we were going to play dirty too. But I had something he didn't have. I had the truth on my side. And the truth, sooner or later, always wins. The next day I got up early, fixed myself up nicely, dress pants, white shirt, the shoes I used for church. If I was going to see a lawyer, I was going to go presentable, with dignity. George picked me up at 9:30. We went in his old car, but it ran well. Mr. Stone's office was downtown, in an old but stately building, one of those that has history. We went up to the 3rd floor. The secretary received us, showed us into an office with shelves full of thick books, penal codes, laws, things I didn't understand but gave me confidence. Mr. Stone was a man of about 50, gray hair, dark suit, serious face, but kind eyes. He shook my hand firmly. Mr. Miller, nice to meet you. George told me your situation. Let me tell you that cases like yours make my blood boil. Children who abuse their parents are the worst of the worst. I liked him immediately. We sat down. I took out all the papers I had brought, the bank statements, the copies of the deeds, the power of attorney, everything. Mr. Stone reviewed them calmly, reading every line, making notes in a notebook. After about 20 minutes, he looked up. Mr. Miller, there are several crimes here. Fraud, breach of trust, possible forgery if he made you sign documents tricking you. This is serious. Your son can face jail. I know, I said. And I meant it. Part of me, that part that was still a dad, felt pain thinking of Danny in jail. But the other part, the part that had been betrayed, robbed, humiliated, wanted justice. Are you willing to go all the way? Because once we file the complaint, there is no turning back. Your son is going to know it was you. He is going to try to pressure you, to make you feel guilty. Are you prepared for that? I thought of Martha, how she always said family was the most important thing, but also said respect is earned. And Danny? He had lost my respect completely. I am prepared. Do what you have to do. The lawyer nodded. Very well. We're going to do this in steps. First, today we go to the district attorney. We file the formal complaint. We present all this evidence. Second, we ask for restraining orders so he can't keep accessing your accounts or making moves with your property. Third, when he presents his incompetence suit against you, we countersue with this. The judge is going to see who is really acting wrong. And how much is all this going to cost me? The lawyer leaned back in his chair. George told me your economic situation. Normally, I charge $15,000 for a case like this, but I'm going to make an exception. You pay me $5,000, $2,000 now, and $3,000 when we win. Because we are going to win. $2,000. It was money I had from what was left of my savings after what Danny stole. But if that gave me justice, it was worth every penny. I accept. He took out a contract. We signed it. I gave him a check for $2,000. George was a witness. Now let's go to the DA, said the lawyer, putting the papers in his briefcase. The three of us went in George's car. The DA's office was in another part of the city. We took about 40 minutes to arrive with traffic. Inside there were many people waiting, people crying, people with tragedy faces. I suppose I had a tragedy face too. The lawyer spoke with an agent, explained the case. She showed us into a cubicle, asked me many questions. When did it happen? How did it happen? What documents did I have? How much money had been stolen? I told her everything, from the beginning, from when Martha died and I gave power to Danny, from when he started taking out money, from when he told me he had sold the house, everything. She typed on her computer, typed fast. When I finished, she printed several papers. Mr. Miller, I am going to file the complaint for fraud and breach of trust against Daniel Miller. With the evidence you present, there are sufficient elements to start an investigation. We are going to call him to declare. We are going to review his bank accounts. We are going to see where that money went. I signed the complaint, with a shaking hand but firm in the decision. How long does this take? I asked. Depends. It can be weeks. It can be months. But with the evidence you have, the case is solid. We left the DA's office almost at 3 in the afternoon. I hadn't eaten. My stomach growled, but I felt something stronger than hunger. I felt like finally I was doing something. That I wasn't a victim, that I was a man fighting for what was his. George invited us for burgers. We went to a diner he knew. I ate a double cheeseburger. It was good. Tasted like victory. Small, but victory. Now what follows? I asked the lawyer while we ate. Now we wait. In a few days they will notify Danny that there is a complaint against him. That is when it will get interesting. He's going to come looking for you. He's going to try to get you to withdraw the complaint. He will promise you things. He will threaten you. You do not give in. Do you understand me? No matter what he says, no matter what he promises, do not withdraw the complaint. I won't do it. Good. Because if you withdraw the complaint, he wins, and you lose everything. We finished eating. George took me back home. The lawyer left in his car. I entered the house. I felt tired, exhausted, but satisfied. I sat on the couch, grabbed Martha's photo that was on the small table. It's done, old girl, I told her. I filed the complaint. The fight has started. I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm not going to back down, I promise you. The photo didn't answer, but I felt she was proud. That night I slept better, still with worry, but with a clear conscience. I had done the right thing, even if it hurt, even if it was against my own son. I had done the right thing. And now only waiting remained. 5 days passed. 5 days of waiting, of nerves, of asking myself if I had done well. Sarah came every day, brought me food, kept me company. I told her what I had done. First, she stayed quiet. Then she hugged me and cried. "You did the right thing, Dad. Danny asked for it." Mike called too. I told him. He sighed on the other end of the line. "Dad, I support you, but be careful. Danny is going to be furious." I knew it. I was prepared, or so I thought. Friday morning, I was drinking coffee in the kitchen when I heard the truck. That powerful engine noise I already knew. It parked with force. The door slammed. Steps came fast, furious. Banged on the door. Didn't knock. Banged like he wanted to knock it down.
"Open up, Dad! Open this damn door!"
I took a deep breath, left the coffee cup, walked slowly toward the door, opened it. Danny was there. But it wasn't the Danny in the suit and expensive glasses. It was another Danny, disheveled, unshaven, with red eyes, with a face of hate I had never seen. "What did you do, Dad? What the hell did you do?" he shouted, entering without permission. He had a paper in his hand. He waved it. "I got a summons. A damn summons from the district attorney. They say you reported me for fraud." "That's right. I reported you."
"Are you crazy? I am your son! Your son, Dad!"
A son doesn't steal from his father. A son doesn't sell his father's house without telling him. A son doesn't try to commit him to a home to keep everything. I didn't steal from you. That money was to manage, to invest for you. Where is it then? Show me where you invested $50,000. Show me the papers, the investments, anything. Danny stayed quiet, clenched his jaw. "You can't? Of course you can't, because you spent that money on your truck, on your expensive clothes, on your rich life, with my money. It was my inheritance. I deserved it." "It wasn't your inheritance. It was my savings, from my work, from my life. And I didn't give them to you. You stole them." Danny took a step toward me, threatening. I didn't move. I wasn't afraid of him anymore. Or maybe I was afraid, but I wasn't going to show it. "You are going to withdraw that complaint today. We are going to go together to the DA, and you are going to say it was a misunderstanding, that everything is fixed." "I am not withdrawing anything." "Dad, you don't know what you're doing. If this continues, I can go to jail. Do you understand? Jail. Is that what you want? To see your son in jail?" "I want justice. If that means you go to jail, well, you will go." "You are senile. You are crazy. That is exactly why you need to be in a home." "So you don't make stupid decisions like this. The only stupid decision I made was trusting you." Danny looked at me with so much hate I thought he was going to hit me. I saw how he clenched his fists, how he breathed heavy, but he didn't touch me. He knew if he touched me, it made everything worse. "You know what, stubborn old man? Do whatever you want, but you are going to regret it. I am going to hire the best lawyer in the state. I am going to fight this, and I am going to win. And when I win, I am going to commit you to the worst hole I find, one where neither Sarah nor anyone can visit you, where you rot alone. Threaten me all you want, Danny. You don't scare me anymore. It's not a threat. It's a promise." He turned around, walked toward the door. Before leaving, he turned. "One last thing. Mom would be very disappointed in you, destroying your own family, sending your son to jail. She never would have done that." Those words hurt me more than all the others, because I knew he was right about something. Martha would have suffered greatly with all this. But I also knew Martha would have been more disappointed in Danny for what he had become.
Your mother would be disappointed in both of us. In me for not having raised you better, and in you for having become this. Danny left, slamming the door. The house shook. I heard the truck start. Tires squealed. He was gone. I stood there, shaking, not from fear, from rage, from sadness, from everything together. I went to the couch, sat down. My hands were shaking. The phone rang. It was Sarah. "Dad, are you okay?" "Danny just called me. He is furious. He told me you reported him, that he can go to jail." "It's true, honey. I reported him." "Dad, I understand why you did it. But be careful. Danny is out of control. We don't know what he is capable of. He already came. He already threatened me. He already left." "Did he do anything to you? Did he touch you?" "No. Just yelled. Just threatened." "I'm coming over. Give me 20 minutes. "No need, honey. I'm fine." "I'm coming anyway." She hung up. I stayed with the phone in my hand, looked around the house. My house that I had fought so hard to keep. My house that now felt like a battlefield. Had I done good, or had I just made everything worse? I didn't know. But there was no turning back. The phone rang again. It was an unknown number. "Hello, Mr. Frank Miller?" "Yes, this is him." "Calling from Mr. Stone's office, calling to inform you that Daniel Miller just filed a legal motion. He is countersuing. Says you have senile dementia and the complaint is not valid because you are not in your right mind." There it was. The counterattack. Fast and dirty. And now what happens? "The lawyer says don't worry, we were expecting this. Tomorrow you have an appointment with a forensic psychologist. He is going to evaluate you. He is going to certify that you are perfectly sane." With that, we dismantle his argument. "At what time?" "At 10 in the morning, at Dr. Roberts' office. I'll send you the address by message." "I'll be there." I hung up. Sarah arrived, ran in, hugged me. "Dad, everything is going to be okay, I promise." I wished I had her certainty, because I didn't know what was going to happen anymore. I only knew the war had truly begun, and only one of the two was going to win. Saturday morning, Sarah picked me up. We went together to Dr. Roberts' office. It was a medical building in the modern part of town, all clean, white, smelling like hospital. Dr. Roberts was a serious man with a gray beard. He asked me many questions about my life, my family, what I remembered. He had me do tests, draw things, repeat numbers, solve problems. I felt like a kid in school, but I did it all with patience, with calm. After 2 hours, he finished. "Mr. Miller, you are perfectly sane. Your memory is fine for your age. Your reasoning capacity is excellent. There is no sign of dementia or significant cognitive deterioration. I am going to make my report and send it to Mr. Stone." I left there calmer. Sarah hugged me. "See, Dad? You're fine. Danny won't be able to win with his lies." 2 weeks passed. Weeks of anguish. Mr. Stone called me every 2 days to give me updates. The investigation against Danny was advancing. The DA had reviewed his accounts. They had found that all the money he took from my account went to his personal expenses, his truck, trips, expensive restaurants. Nothing to do with me. They had also spoken with the house buyers. They didn't know about the life estate. Danny never mentioned it. They were furious, threatening to sue Danny for fraud too. Everything was crumbling for him, and I didn't feel joy, only sadness. Sadness that my son had reached this point. The lawyer called me to his office on a Wednesday. When I arrived, he had a smile. "Mr. Miller, I have good news. Danny accepted a deal." "What kind of deal?" "He withdraws the incompetence suit against you, returns all the money he took from your account, the $50,000.
cancels the house sale, and you recover the property completely in your name. In exchange, you withdraw the criminal complaint. I stayed quiet, processing. And if I don't accept, then we continue the trial. He will probably go to jail, but that can take years, and you will have to be testifying, going to hearings, fighting. Are you willing to do that? I thought of Martha, what she would have wanted. I thought of Danny as a boy, the son he was before becoming this. I thought of me, of what I had left of life. If I wanted to spend it fighting in courts, I accept the deal, but with one more condition. Which? That Danny asks for my forgiveness, face to face, and that he promises never to approach me again unless he comes truly repentant. The lawyer nodded. I will communicate it to his lawyer. 2 days later, they called me to Danny's lawyer's office, a luxurious place, with a view of the city. Danny was there, sitting in his suit, but he didn't look arrogant anymore. He looked tired, defeated. I sat across from him. The lawyers were on the sides. Mr. Miller, Danny's lawyer started. My client agrees to the terms. He is going to return the money. He is going to cancel the sale. He is going to transfer the property back to your name. Something is missing, I said, looking at Danny. Danny clenched his jaw, looked at me, finally looked at me without hate, only with shame. Dad, I am sorry. I truly am sorry. I let myself get carried away by ambition, by wanting to have more. I thought I deserved it, that I had done enough for you to... But it was wrong. Everything was wrong. I shouldn't have sold you the house. I shouldn't have taken the money. I shouldn't have treated you like I treated you. They weren't perfect words, but they sounded sincere, or at least more sincere than everything he had said in months. Are you sorry you lost? Danny lowered his gaze. Both things. I am sorry because I lost, but I am also sorry because I know I hurt you, and that has no forgiveness. He was right. It had no forgiveness. But I couldn't spend the rest of my life with hate in my heart either. I accept your apology, but I don't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe someday. Maybe never. Time will tell. Danny nodded. He knew he couldn't ask for more. We signed the papers. All the papers. The agreement, the return of money, the transfer of the house, everything. When we finished, Danny stood up, extended his hand. I looked at it. For a moment, I thought about not taking it. But I took it. A cold handshake, formal, without love, but without hate. Goodbye, Dad. Goodbye, Danny. He left. I stayed with Mr. Stone. You did the right thing, Mr. Miller. I hope so. A month passed. The money arrived in my account. The house was back in my name, with new deeds, clean, without powers of attorney, without tricks. Sarah came to celebrate, brought cake, her daughters. We had a little party in the living room, in my living room, in my house, which now, yes, was completely mine. Mike called from Denver, congratulated me, told me he was proud of me. Danny didn't call, didn't come. I heard nothing from him, and it was okay like that. One afternoon, I was in the yard watering Martha's plants. The hydrangeas were blooming, red, beautiful, like she liked them. You see, old girl, I told the plant as if she were listening. I didn't let them. I fought. I won. The house is still ours, and I am still here, still standing. The wind blew softly, the flowers moved, and I felt she was telling me I had done good. I sat in the plastic chair under the old apple tree, looked at my house,
The walls I painted, the windows I fixed, the yard I tended. Everything was still there. Everything was still mine. I lost a son along the way. That hurt. It hurt every day. But I won something more important. I won my dignity. I won my freedom. I won the right to live my last years in peace, in my house, with my memories. And that, at the end of the day, was worth more than anything. A house is just wood and brick, but dignity? That's the mortar that holds a man's soul together. I closed my eyes. The sun warmed my face. The birds sang. Life went on. And I went on too. Still here. Still fighting. Still alive. Because we old folks aren't stupid. We aren't weak. And when they push us, we push back with everything we have. And sometimes, only sometimes, we win. And you know what? If someone does something similar to you, if someone betrays you, if someone thinks that because you are older you don't count anymore, remember my story. Fight. Don't give up, because as long as you have breath, you have the right to defend what is yours. Now tell me, what would you have done in my place? Would you have stayed quiet or fought? And hey, share this story with whoever needs to hear it. And tell me, what city are you listening from? I would like to know that my story reached far, that it served for something, that someone else learned that it is never too late to get justice.